Chosen ones, God has sent you something extraordinary. A healer not just of wounds, but of souls. This is not a healer who treats the surface, but one who loves you from the core of eternity. You were not abandoned. You were not forgotten. You were being prepared to meet this sacred gift. Someone who was always meant to walk with you through your deepest pain and pull you gently back into divine light. Please watch this message until the very end. If you feel its truth in your heart, comment below with your warmest wish and the number 77 to energize the universe with your intention. Like this video, subscribe to the channel. Let the river of destiny begin to flow again. Let the healer be revealed. There is something holy about your pain. Not because it was good, not because it was deserved, but because it awakened you to your divine need for healing. The world may have misunderstood you, misused your kindness, and misread your silence, but heaven did not. Heaven took note, and now heaven responds. Chosen one, this message comes to you because your soul is ready. You were never meant to walk through fire alone, and while you were surviving, enduring, transforming, God was preparing someone. A soul born to know your ache. A soul designed to carry your spiritual bruises with reverence. A healer who doesn't need to be told how much it hurt, because they've seen you even before they physically met you. Yes, there is a sacred someone, not just a partner, not just a companion, but a healer. Their existence is a divine promise fulfilled. Their arrival is not coincidence, it's cosmic correction. You are not crazy for longing to be understood without having to explain yourself. That was your soul, remembering what your eyes had not yet seen. That was your spirit, whispering the name of the one sent to remind you of how whole you truly are. They are drawn to your soul, not your perfection. They are magnetized by your resilience, not your performance. The world told you to smile and pretend you were okay. The healer tells you to cry, to break, to unravel. And then they hold you through the storm without trying to fix you, because their presence alone begins the restoration. You may have been taught to only rely on yourself, to expect disappointment, to close off. But that was before. That was survival. Now, healing comes. And with it comes a love not tainted by ego or agenda, but forged in divine timing and soaked in purpose. This is not a rescuer. This is not a fantasy. This is a spiritual companion who brings balance where the world brought chaos. They are not perfect, but they are perfectly aligned with your soul's need to be seen, truly seen. In your darkest nights, someone somewhere was waking up from a dream with your name on their heart. They didn't know why they felt compelled to grow, to purge old habits, to awaken deeper, but now they do. They were being molded to become what your soul needed, and you were being refined to receive them. The pain was not punishment, it was preparation. Chosen one, the healer is not coming to change your life. They're coming to reflect your soul, to remind you of the parts you buried to survive, to water the garden of your spirit with patience, with gentleness, with fierce, quiet love. They will not rush you. They will not judge your trembling. They will simply hold space for the sacred within you to rise again. Their love is not fireworks, it is sunrise, gradual, certain, holy. Where others saw your wounds as baggage, they see them as sacred stories written in fire. Where others needed you to be strong all the time, they tell you it's okay to be soft again, to trust, to rest. They are not your savior, but they are your mirror. And through their eyes, you will remember who you are without pain dictating your every move. You will remember how it feels to breathe without fear, to love without guardrails, to be fully known and not abandoned. God sends healers not just for bodies, but for souls. And you, chosen one, have endured enough to now receive what was always promised to you. This is not a fairy tale. This is prophecy. A love story that began before birth and stretches beyond lifetimes. Some of you will recognize them, not by their words, but by the calm they bring. Not by what they say, but by how your soul exhales in their presence. And if you've already met them, cherish them. Don't run. Don't sabotage. Healing love can feel uncomfortable at first because it doesn't resemble the chaos you're used to. But trust it. Let it do its holy work. Let it peel back the armor. Let it remind you that you're not broken, only wounded. And wounds can heal when touched by hands that know how to love without fear. The healer doesn't want to fix you. They want to know you. You don't need to pretend with them. You don't need to shrink. You don't need to earn their love. You don't need to worry about losing them every time you get vulnerable. Their soul has known yours longer than time remembers. And if they're not here yet, take heart. They are close, closer than you think. They are finishing the last layers of their own healing so they can meet you whole, not half. They are praying for you even now. They are preparing a space in their life for someone like you because their spirit keeps whispering, "Someone is coming who deserves this version of me." God's love doesn't always come in thunder. Sometimes it walks into our lives softly, carrying balm for our hearts. And when the healer arrives, you will feel safe without knowing why. You will feel home in their eyes. You will cry, not from pain, but because finally, someone stayed. Someone saw you, and someone loved you. Right there. There is something sacred about being fully understood, not intellectually, not situationally, but soulfully. When someone looks into you, past all the layers, and still sees the divine light flickering behind your scars, a holy reunion takes place. And chosen one, this is the kind of healing God is preparing for you. You've carried so much alone. You've held others when no one was there to hold you. You've dried your own tears in the dark and kept walking, even when the ground felt like it was breaking beneath your feet. But there comes a time in the spiritual journey where God says, "Enough. It is time to be received." Not because you couldn't do it all alone, but because you were never meant to. A healer who loves you knows your soul language. They recognize the silence behind your smile. They hear the pain in your jokes. They see through the toughness you had to wear as armor. And they don't push. They sit beside you. They don't ask you to be strong. They give you permission to soften. This is not about romantic fantasy. This is divine alignment. This is the fulfillment of what you have spiritually outgrown. The healer arrives not to entertain your loneliness, but to walk beside your calling. They come bearing peace, not distraction. They understand the sacredness of your journey. And they do not fear the weight of your heart, because they too have walked through fire. Their scars recognize yours. Healing love is not passive. It is intentional, sacred work. It shows up when you least expect it, but exactly when your soul is ready. And when it does, it doesn't come to complete you. It comes to remind you, you were never incomplete, only weary, only waiting. The healer brings clarity. With them, confusion fades. You stop second-guessing your worth. You stop begging to be chosen. You stop negotiating your boundaries. They don't test your limits. They honor them. They don't exploit your empathy. They nurture it. They don't turn your love into a burden. They receive it like holy water. In their presence, time slows. Your nervous system relaxes. You don't feel like you need to perform or impress. You feel like you can just be. Be soft, be silly, be tired, Be powerful, be spiritual, be quiet, be real. The way they look at you makes you believe, maybe for the first time in a long time, that you are actually safe here. God is not sending you a healer to reward you. God is sending a healer because your soul requires it to fully rise. This isn't luxury. This is necessity. For your next spiritual level, you must be mirrored in wholeness, not tolerated in fragments. You must experience what it feels like to be emotionally held, without judgment, without condition. Your old self would have rejected this love, not because it wasn't beautiful, but because you didn't feel worthy of it. But now, chosen one, your soul has matured. Your heart has become wise. You know what real love feels like. You know it's not adrenaline, it's not chaos, it's not fear wrapped in desire. It is calm, it is consistent, it is holy. You may have prayed for someone to stay, and they left. You may have begged for understanding, and you were ignored. But the healer God is sending you doesn't need to be convinced. They already know. Their love comes from a place deeper than logic. It comes from sacred recognition. There is no fear in their love. There is no pressure, no control, no games. There is only presence, sacred presence, the kind that sees your exhaustion and says, "Let me walk with you for a while." The kind that doesn't require you to explain every wound. They've felt them too. The kind that brings you tea when you've lost your voice and holds you when you've lost your hope. And it may begin quietly, unexpectedly, through a conversation, through a moment, through divine timing that couldn't be orchestrated by anything but God. But you will know, your soul will know, and the moment you feel it, don't run. This kind of love is rare. This kind of healing is holy. And sometimes it doesn't come loud. It doesn't come wrapped in dramatic declarations. It comes in consistency, in listening, in the way they protect your heart even before you ask them to, in the way they pray for you without telling you, in the way their energy restores you. You won't have to question their intentions. You won't have to chase their attention. You won't have to beg for their loyalty, because they're not here to feed their ego. They're here to love your soul. This is a divine mission for them too. Your healing is part of their calling, and their presence in your life will feel like a key finally turning in a lock that's waited too long to open. You were not meant to suffer forever. You were not created to carry your burdens endlessly. And while your strength has been divine, now your softness must be honored too. Now your vulnerability must be protected. And now your healing must begin, not alone, but with the sacred presence of someone who truly sees you. They are being drawn to you as you read this, energetically, spiritually. Their heart is sensing a shift. The preparation is nearly over. You may not even know their name yet, but their soul has already found you in the silence. The healer is on their way, and when you meet them, may your first instinct not be to question it, but to receive it. Because God did not forget what you asked for. God remembered the nights you cried into your pillow, whispering, "Please just send someone who understands." And now, the answer is arriving, not as a miracle of fantasy, but as a human echo of divine compassion. They will not be perfect, but they will be real. They will not complete you, but they will mirror your wholeness. They will not erase your past, but they will honor your healing. And in their presence, you will finally feel it. You were never too much. You were just waiting for the one who could hold all of you. Sometimes the soul begins to heal long before the body catches up, and often even before the mind can comprehend what is happening. You may not fully understand it, chosen one, but deep within you, something has already begun to shift. You are remembering what it feels like to be safe, not just physically, but emotionally and spiritually. This is not an illusion. This is not fleeting comfort. This is the beginning of divine restoration, brought to life by a healer who was always meant to love you. There is nothing accidental about this encounter. There is nothing ordinary about the timing. This healer has walked through their own valley of shadows. They have been stripped of their illusions. They have bled through silence and risen through pain. They have endured, transformed, and learned to love themselves without condition. And now, they are ready to extend that same depth of love to you. But make no mistake, this is not savior energy. This is not about someone fixing you. This is about someone walking with you through the fog until you remember how powerful your own light is. The healer doesn't come to replace your strength. They come to remind you of it. They are not threatened by your independence. They are inspired by it. They don't need you to shrink to make them feel bigger. They want to see you expand. Chosen one, have you noticed the exhaustion lately? The kind of weariness that seeps into your soul even when your body is still? That's not just fatigue. That's your spirit whispering, "It's time to be held now." You've been the light in every room. You've been the one others turned to when the world broke their hearts. You've given freely, sacrificially, beautifully. And now, the healer arrives not to take, but to pour back into you what has been silently leaking away. They won't be flashy. They won't arrive with spectacle. They may even come during a season when you feel the least ready. But that's how divine appointments often work. Not according to our timing, but God's. And when you feel them enter your life, when you see the way your nervous system eases in their presence, pay attention. That peace you feel is not just affection, it is confirmation. God's love, when expressed through another soul, is unmistakable. It's not loud, but it's undeniable. It's not urgent, but it's persistent. It doesn't come to demand, but to invite. And when the healer speaks, it will not be in grand speeches, but in small acts of sacred recognition. I see you. You're safe here. You don't have to explain. I understand. There is something life-changing about being seen in your full emotional truth. Not just the parts you've learned to curate, but the raw, trembling center of who you really are. The healer comes to see you there and stay. They do not flee from your fire. They do not shrink from your depth. They meet you in the storm and whisper, "I've known winds like these before." This is why your souls recognize each other so quickly. This is why it feels like you've met before. Because spiritually, you have. Long before this lifetime, you were destined to find each other when the timing aligned, when the pain had done its work, when the masks had fallen away, when the need to pretend had finally exhausted itself. You were meant to meet when you could finally be real. Real healing love doesn't start with infatuation. It begins with safety, with presence, with stillness. The healer doesn't enter to thrill your ego. They enter to calm your soul. They don't pull you into chaos. They walk with you toward peace. And while your old wounds may resist this softness at first, trust the process. Trust your intuition. Trust what your body feels when you are around them. That ease, that is alignment. There's a sacred dance happening. Your soul opening, their soul holding. No demands, no manipulation, no threats. Only presence, only divine rhythm. The kind of love that lets you exhale fully for the first time in years. The kind of connection that doesn't ask you to hide. The kind of support that doesn't collapse under your truth. They will not need you to earn their loyalty. They will not punish your vulnerability. They will not view your wounds as burdens. Instead, They will sit with you, palm to palm, heart to heart, and they will hold space for your story, not as a savior, not as a fixer, but as a witness to the miracle that you are, surviving, still shining, still here. And you may wonder why they love you so fiercely, so deeply. You may feel unworthy, unsure, but that is only because you've been trained to associate love with performance, with perfection. The healer breaks that illusion. They love not in spite of your flaws, but because of the beauty within them. They see your chaos as art, your mess as truth, your contradictions as poetry. They do not flinch when you cry. They do not silence your fears. They listen, deeply, fully, patiently, because they are not afraid of your pain. They have made peace with their own, and this is what makes their love powerful. It is rooted in understanding. It is built on empathy. It does not collapse under intensity. It thrives within it. The healer loves you through your seasons, not just when you're blooming, but when you're buried, cold, aching for light. They see your bare branches, and they do not run. They sit with you in the winter and wait, not because they need you to change, but because they know spring always comes, and through their presence, something ancient inside you will awaken. Not a dependency, not a fantasy, but a remembrance. A remembering of who you were before the world told you who you had to be. A remembering of the sacred within you that has always been waiting to be honored, not managed. Nurtured, not corrected. Believed in, not fixed. So when you feel this love, don't resist it. Let it fill you slowly, gently, honestly. Let it rewrite every story that told you love was painful. Let it challenge every lie that said you were too much or not enough. Let it prove, not with words, but with presence, that the divine has not abandoned you. It has been orchestrating this encounter all along. The healer's love is not a promise of a perfect life. It is a sacred invitation to a healed one, a journey of being seen, held, known, in all your phases, not because you are broken, but because you are holy, worthy, sacred, and finally, ready to receive. There are moments in life when the silence becomes so loud, it almost feels like abandonment. When no message arrives, no sign appears, and no one seems to truly see the ache in your heart. And yet, in the quiet, in that aching stillness, something sacred is forming. A convergence, a movement, a soul being prepared just for you. This is the quiet before the healer arrives. You weren't forgotten. You were being fortified. And so was the one who is destined to hold your heart without fear. The healer, dear chosen one, was not always strong. They have been crushed under the weight of their own grief, misunderstood even by those they gave their all to. They've been accused of being too intense, too quiet, too different, but they were never too much for God. In fact, every painful stretch, every lonely chapter, shaped them into the kind of vessel who could one day carry you with grace. God does not pair wounds randomly. There is a divine architecture to healing, a blueprint of sacred timing and connection. Your healer doesn't love lightly. They love like a calling. When their heart opens to you, it's not a moment of fleeting passion. It's a soul recognition that will echo through every layer of your being. They know what it means to feel invisible, which is why they'll never let you fade into the background. They know what it feels like to carry unspoken sorrow, which is why they'll hold space for your silence without forcing it into sound. They will not demand your trust. They will earn it with consistency, with patience, with truth. This love is not about escaping pain. It is about alchemizing it. They will walk with you through your inner shadows, not as a critic, but as a light. They don't fear your brokenness because they've learned that what's broken is often where the sacred pours in. And when they look at you, they won't see a puzzle to be solved. They will see purpose. Chosen one, this healer does not come to teach you how to be loved. They come to show you that you already are. Their eyes will not search for your perfection. They will search for your presence. They are drawn not to what you can give, but to who you are when no one is looking. This kind of connection does not need performance. It needs truth. And when you finally sit with them, perhaps in silence, perhaps with tears, perhaps with trembling, they will not look away. They will reach for you, not to fix you, but to remind you, you don't have to carry this alone anymore. The healer understands what few others do, that even the strong need rest, that even the resilient need tenderness, that even warriors long to be held. And so, when your armor finally cracks, when your tears fall without apology, they will not ask you to stop. They will say, "Let it fall. I am here." You see, the healer's love is not conditional on your strength. It is rooted in your truth, your honesty, your essence. They see the divine not only in your light, but in your struggle. They do not idolize your victories, nor shame your vulnerability. They celebrate both, because they know healing is not a straight line. It's a sacred spiral. They will walk beside you as you fall apart and rebuild again and again. And with each cycle, their love will not waver. It will deepen. It will anchor. It will prove to you, not in declarations, but in deeds, that you are not alone anymore. This is not about dependency. This is not about losing yourself in someone else. In fact, the healer's love will challenge you to become even more of who you truly are. They will not coddle your fears, but they will hold them gently. They will not silence your rage, but they will sit with it until it softens into truth. They will meet your fire with peace, your chaos with calm, your doubt with stillness. And if you let them in, truly let them in, you will begin to feel a kind of healing that cannot be rushed. It's not an instant cure, it's a sacred unfolding. One layer at a time, your heart will open. One memory at a time, your shame will dissolve. One breath at a time, your nervous system will begin to relax into trust. Trust, not because you've been convinced, but because you've been seen. The healer does not come with grand promises. They come with presence. And it is this steady, unwavering presence that rebuilds what the world tore down. Not through magic, not through fantasy, but through real, consistent, sacred love. They will walk with you when your faith falters. They will anchor you when your fear screams louder than your hope. And they will remind you, gently, faithfully, unwaveringly, that healing is not a destination. It is a relationship, one you are now ready to embrace. You don't have to explain why you've pushed love away in the past. You don't have to justify why your heart trembles in the face of softness. The healer already knows. They've been there too, and they've waited not to be your solution, but to stand with you as you become whole. You are not too late. You are not too damaged. You are not too much. You are ready, and they are here. Let yourself receive what has always been written in the stars for you. Not a savior, but a sacred companion. Not perfection, but presence. Not fantasy, but divine reality. A healer, a lover, a mirror of grace. God's gift, chosen just for you, because you are that loved. There is a sacred reason why this love is arriving now. Not when you first cried out for it. Not when you felt most alone. But now, in this particular season of your life, when your soul has grown tired of pretending and your heart no longer wishes to survive through defense, but to live through truth. Timing is not random in divine design. You had to become this version of yourself, weathered but wise, vulnerable but whole, imperfect but aware. The healer was not sent for the version of you that begged for rescue. They were sent for the version of you who finally understands that healing is not about escape, but alignment. This isn't about being saved. It's about being seen, soul deep, fully, courageously. The healer does not just love your potential, they love your process. And through that process, something eternal is happening. Transformation through love, not through pressure. You may be tempted to question it, to wonder if this person is too good to be true, to pull away, just to test whether they'll stay. And they will. Not because they're perfect, but because their presence is intentional. They are not guessing with you. They know. They feel it, just as you do. You've both been led by the same unseen force. And now that force is weaving your lives together, not for comfort alone, but for calling. The healer's love isn't just a balm for your pain. It is a compass toward your destiny. In their presence, you'll feel stronger, clearer, more aligned, not because they complete you, but because they reflect back to you the parts of yourself that were waiting for this kind of light to awaken. This is what happens when love meets timing, when two souls, prepared by fire and molded by silence, finally collide in a frequency that shakes the old world loose from your shoulders. No more pretending, no more shrinking, no more waiting for the right moment. The moment is here. And here's the miracle. Chosen one, the healer does not love the version of you that smiles for others. They love the version that breaks in the middle of the night, the version that overthinks, the version that doubts, the version that still flinches when love reaches out too fast. That's the you they came for. That's the you they honor. They are not afraid of your shadows because they have made peace with their own. They will not recoil when your defenses rise. They will gently wait, offering warmth instead of pressure, silence instead of judgment, consistency instead of confusion. This connection is not built in moments of perfection, but in the way they will reach for you after a misstep, the way they will apologize when they're wrong, the way they will invite repair rather than letting rupture define the bond. That is where the sacred work happens, and slowly you will begin to believe it, not overnight, but steadily. Your nervous system will adjust, your guard will lower, your laughter will return. The tightness in your chest will begin to loosen. Not because everything becomes easy, but because you're finally not walking alone. You will learn to receive without guilt. You will learn to rest without shame. You will learn to be loved without earning it. And that will change everything. There's a kind of healing that can only happen through the mirror of another soul. Someone who reflects back to you not just who you are, but who you are becoming. The healer sees that. They do not treat your wounds as burdens. They see them as gateways. Gateways to intimacy. Gateways to trust. Gateways to destiny. They are not here to pacify you with shallow sweetness. They are here to challenge you with depth, with presence, with unwavering love. Their silence will feel safer than the loudest affirmation from those who never truly knew you. Their gaze will make you feel seen in a way that doesn't perform, doesn't push, just witnesses, and you will rise because of it. Not as someone who was saved, but as someone who finally realized they were never unworthy of being held. There is divine intelligence in this connection. It is not chaotic, it is not fleeting, it is written, not in fantasy, but in frequency. That unmistakable vibration when your soul whispers, "This is different. This is safe. This is mine." You may still doubt. You may still fear the intensity of what's forming. That's okay. The healer has patience. They understand that real love is a slow unfolding, not a sudden rush. They know that your heart, though ready, still remembers what it cost to open. And they honor that memory, not by avoiding it, but by meeting it with compassion. They are not triggered by your pain. They are tender with it. And in that tenderness, something long forgotten in you will begin to believe again. Believe in presence. Believe in softness. Believe in connection that doesn't demand perfection, but invites authenticity. This love is not here to distract you from your path. It is here to walk with you into your path. You will become more alive, more attuned, more awake, because that's what sacred love does. It doesn't suffocate, it activates. Your gifts will sharpen, your voice will strengthen, your creativity will flourish, all because you are finally surrounded by someone who is not intimidated by your greatness, someone who was sent to support it. This is divine partnership, not a fantasy, not a coincidence, a soul contract now coming into form. And it is God's reminder that you were never meant to do this alone. So breathe, chosen one. Let the fear loosen its grip. Let the past release its claws. Let yourself lean in, not because you're desperate, but because you're ready. They are here. You are open. And love is about to become your new foundation. There comes a moment when you realize it was never about finding someone perfect. It was about being found by someone true. And the healer is true in every way that matters. They may not wear a crown or ride in like a hero from stories, but their presence heals what years of self-denial and silent ache have worn down in you. They love not loudly, but steadily. Not dramatically, but deeply. And that is the kind of love your soul has always been aching for, even when you didn't know how to ask for it. They are not a detour in your journey. They are the missing rhythm in your walk. Not someone to depend on, but someone who aligns with the strength you already hold. Their love is not about completing you. It's about awakening what was dormant, not dead, what was cautious, not broken. This is God's design, that at the moment your soul stops begging and begins listening, love enters, not as noise, but as stillness. Not to take over your life, but to illuminate it. That's what this healer does. They walk beside you like they were always meant to be there. Their energy calms your storms without needing to fix them. Their words don't fill the silence, they bless it. And their eyes don't demand answers, they offer rest. The most sacred truth is this: they don't need you to prove anything. You've done enough proving, enough striving, enough overextending just to feel worthy. They see through all of it, straight into the center of who you are. And what they find there, they choose. Again and again, they choose you. Not just on the sunny days when you feel your best, but on the days when your edges are sharp and your words are unsure. They choose you when you pull back, when you get quiet, when you wrestle with shadows, when your old fears rise. Still, they stay. They stay because their love isn't conditional. It doesn't wobble when you shake. It doesn't collapse when you question. This is what it means to be held, not captured, but cradled, protected, safe. And as you walk this path with them, you begin to see the real miracle. The healer wasn't just sent to you, you were sent to them too. They needed your softness, your courage, your clarity just as much. You are not a burden in their life. You are the blessing. You bring warmth to places that were long cold. You bring wisdom to wounds they still carry. Your presence speaks the language their soul has been trying to remember. It is not one way. It is reciprocal, equal, sacred. This connection is a reminder that you are no longer walking alone through the wilderness, that God doesn't just restore your strength through miracles. He restores it through people, through soul encounters, through the presence of someone who knows how to hold you without losing themselves. The healer loves you with holy precision. They don't idolize you, they understand you. And in doing so, they bring you home to yourself, slowly, gently, powerfully. You will laugh again in ways that feel like freedom. You will cry again in ways that cleanse your spirit. You will trust again, not because it's easy, but because it's safe now. This is not the ending. This is the true beginning. The version of you that thought you had to earn love, gone. The version of you that settled for shallow connections, released. The version of you that doubted you'd ever be loved this way, awakened. Because now you know. You were always meant for this. For love that doesn't just make your heart beat faster, but love that heals. Love that honors your past without dragging it into your future. Love that sees every scar and still says, "I'll be here tomorrow." Love that listens not just with ears, but with presence. Love that doesn't try to fix you, but walks with you while you heal. This is what it means to be chosen, not just by God, but by another soul. This is what it means to be loved into your fullness. This is what it means to be found. And from this moment on, you don't have to question if you are worthy of it. You are. You are the one they were sent for. You are the one who waited and didn't give up. You are the one who will now walk forward, heart full, soul ready, spirit renewed, because the healer is here. And more than that, they love you